keep seeing videos talking about fascism being at our doorstep, and I'm not sure what America everyone else is living in, but fascism is already inside of the house. The democracy that we thought we had is gone.
Why is it that 83% of people in China feel they live in a democracy, with 91% of them saying they think it's important, while only 49% of Americans feel they live in a democracy, with only 76% of them thinking it's important? China is a one-party state, but that doesn't mean they don't have democracy.
I've noticed a disturbing trend of left-wing creators making videos demanding honest things from the Democratic Party, followed by the Democratic Party's strongest defenders coming in and personally attacking that person. Personal attacks, threats, report bombing, you name it. I would just like to remind you that your party is the party that has had power several times in the last couple decades and done very little with it. Your party still funded ICE agents year after year after year after it was created during the Bush administration.
I just think it's so funny, like, Americans know so much about China, you know? And I always just ask them, like, just travel. Like, leave your state. Like, go somewhere else besides that local bar you always go to. Like, don't do a road trip. Take a plane. Go somewhere you don't speak the language. Go anywhere and learn. Don't be watching your Facebook news or whatever news channel you're watching. Get yourself out there. Learn. Be open-minded. And then make a judgment. Be smart about it. And
China is the #1 economy in the world, and since the 1980s, the Western intelligence departments have tried to claim that it's capitalism, not socialism, that has helped China rise to the top. So I'll take their challenge. If China is capitalist, then let's follow their capitalism to its.
What if the freedom you were promised was just branding? What if democracy, the pillar of the American identity, was quietly replaced with something else, something darker? And what if the country often demonized as undemocratic is quietly offering something closer to real representation than the US ever has? I never thought I'd say this. But after watching how America treats its own people and learning how democracy actually works in China, I had to dig deeper. What I found shocked me. And it might shake everything you think you know.
How can China claim to have the real democracy? You will get the answer from this video. The democracy practiced in China is called the whole process people's democracy, which includes four main parts: people's congresses, multi-party cooperation, regional ethnic autonomy, and community-level self-governance. And the key of China's democracy is that the people are the most important thing. That's why China is called the People's Republic of China. The currency they use is called renminbi, which literally means people's money. The central bank is called People's Bank, and the deputy of its representative democracy are called people's representatives. Under the system of people's congresses, deputies represent their groups in the political process. These deputies are broadly representative. They include people from all ethnic groups, all walks of life, all regions, classes, and stratum. As they come from the people, the deputies maintain close ties with their respective constituencies and electorates, and earnestly listen to their views and demand. The congresses happened at various governmental levels across the country, with the largest one being the National People's Congress, or the NPC, which consists of members of different political parties, representatives of different organizations, industries, ethnic minorities, and other groups of people. Deputies air their views and address inquiries to governments at the corresponding level, and the parties concerned are duty-bound to reply their inquiries. At present, over 2.6 million people from all walks of life have been elected to represent different groups and minorities in the People's Congresses. During the 13th MPC, deputies put forward 43,750 proposals, and 74% of the problems involved have been solved or are being solved. That means that more than 30,000 proposals have been or are being translated into policy measures helping to solve people's concerns. So in China's sense, democracy is not an ornament for decoration. Democracy is to be used to solve problems that people want to solve. Cheers.
I've noticed a disturbing trend of left-wing creators making videos demanding honest things from the Democratic Party, followed by the Democratic Party's strongest defenders coming in and personally attacking that person. Personal attacks, threats, report bombing, you name it. I would just like to remind you that your party is the party that has had power several times in the last couple decades and done very little with it. Your party still funded ICE agents year after year after year after it was created during the Bush administration. That alone is ridiculous. Yeah, every once in a while we get something super cool like the Affordable Care Act, I'll say that. But you had chances to codify abortion. You had chances to codify LGBTQ plus rights, including rights for trans people, which are currently being stripped. You had plenty of chances to change the minimum wage. It hasn't changed in a really long time at this point. And yet none of these things were done because it's politically expedient to keep it as a carrot on a stick for left-wing voters, while not actually accomplishing anything. It's all about rhetoric and decorum with you guys. It's never about actually getting cool shit done. Because getting cool shit done would mean addressing the fact that your party is full of establishment hacks that take money from the exact same companies and ultra-wealthy individuals that the Republicans do. They just do it while not posting so much on Twitter. So I would just ask that you go back and you look at all of the times these left-wing creators have been right about your candidate not actually doing anything, or your president not actually doing anything. Because you'd be pretty surprised how often they're correct about that sort of thing.
Let's start with the obvious. Democracy in America is dying. Maybe it's already dead. Voter suppression, gerrymandering, media manipulation, corporate lobbying. It's all part of the system. And let's not forget, 2 parties, 1 outcome. Whether it's red or blue, billionaires still win, and regular people still lose. In 2020, I watched my neighbor, a 73-year-old black veteran, wait in line for 6 hours just to vote. 6 hours. In the richest democracy on earth. Meanwhile, billionaires vote with dollars every day. They don't wait in line. They buy the line.
I keep seeing videos talking about fascism being at our doorstep, and I'm not sure what America everyone else is living in, but fascism is already inside of the house. The democracy that we thought we had is gone. Let's start with some facts, okay? The Idaho shooter, confirmed MAGA. The assassin of the Democratic lawmakers, confirmed MAGA. House Republicans just passed a massive tax and spending bill designed to enrich the 1% and gut support to everyone else, including all of the people that voted for them. Pro-life, pro-vet, this bill spits in the face of both. Miami, Florida decided that they would just postpone the elections until next year. Why? Because they know their constituents are angry, and instead of facing accountability, they're holding democracy hostage. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has greenlit this administration to deport people to countries that aren't even their home countries. That's not deportation, that's human trafficking, and it's unconstitutional. And there are still so many people out here pretending like everything is normal, and it's not. We are being governed by people who view us as resources and not citizens. And that fact is regardless of which side of the political aisle you fall on. We are cogs in their profit machine and nothing more. And that includes red states too. Every time a hurricane hits, crickets, education, jobs, healthcare, all left to rot. Not because those people aren't worthy, but because they've been brainwashed willingly at this point to vote against their own interests just to own the libs. That's not smart. That's self-destruction. And don't tell me both sides. One side is literally assassinating political representatives. And no, Trump's fake assassination attempt does not count. One side is canceling elections. One side is redefining citizenship so they can strip it away from whoever they want. Trump said birthright citizenship was meant for slaves, and that alone should have stopped everyone in their tracks. It won't, because this isn't about politics anymore. This is about loyalty to a cult personality. The groupthink has taken over, and MAGA followers are so intermeshed with Trump, they view themselves as him. They view his success as their success, even though he does not care about a single one of them. He does not relate to a single one of them, and he won't take care of a single one of them, but he will utilize that group think and that detrimental to self-loyalty in order to ensure that he furthers his power and his wealth. He is inciting violence every single day. He's tearing families apart because they aren't from here when his family isn't even from here. His ex-wife His wife, his children fall under the same deportation rules that he is creating and using to terrorize other people. Trump is a 34-time convicted felon who is actively committing human rights violations every single day, and people are cheering him on. I saw video footage of a detention facility in Texas full of teenagers, children, and infants, where the teens and the children are being forced to provide care for the infants. That means we have minors being forced to parent and care for other minors while they are living in deplorable conditions. No diapers, no food, but hey, they're illegal, right? There is absolutely no real pro-life behind this movement. You are pro-birth because, again, you view women as resources to give you children, to add to the cog of the machine that then they will use to fuel their power and their wealth. Like, this isn't even the full scope of the tyrannical insanity that has been occurring over the last 6 months. The chaos is so constant, most people don't even know what's going on anymore. And that's intentional. It's exhausting people into remaining silent, regardless of your political beliefs, your religious beliefs. If today, present day, you still support all of this, you still support the things that I listed in this video, you are brainwashed. You have lost all autonomy and are now a locked-in member of groupthink. And that will be a part of your destruction, a destruction that will come at the hands of the man that you gave power to. I feel so sick knowing that my tax dollars go towards all of this hatred and all of the destruction and the violation of human rights. It's sickening. We have been trapped in a society that requires us to be slaves in order for our basic needs to be met, making it that much harder for us to fight back. Every day I wake up wondering, how far is it going to go today? What's going to happen today? Is today going to be the day that it finally collapses? If it does collapse, what are we going to do? There is so much grief in realizing that the people you thought you knew, you have no idea who they are. Your fellow Americans that you thought stood for equality, that you thought stood for a country that was built on immigrants, that was, when I was a kid, we were taught that America was a melting pot, that all of us being from different places, that's what made America beautiful and strong. And I believe that. And grieving the reality of what America is, and that what we were taught was a lie, is a really hard pill to swallow. We are witnessing the collapse of democracy in real time, and it's okay to feel overwhelmed. You are not crazy. You are not alone. And your fear and your anger and your heartbreak is all real. I feel all of that right there with you. I see you. Even if everyone else around us is cheering for this or pretending like it's not happening, I see you. Please don't go numb. Please don't give up. We need each other more now than ever. Because if we don't keep standing up and speaking out, even just to say, hey, I see what's going on, I don't know what will happen. And if you are MAGA and you choose to comment bigoted or racist or hateful comments, I will just block you, okay? I will not be platforming you. I don't care if that boosts my analytics.
China doesn't practice the same style of democracy, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. What China has is called whole process people's democracy, and it includes people at every level of decision-making, from their local streets all the way to Beijing. It may sound complex, but here's the essence. China's democracy is not based on elite competition. It's about consensus building and representation across geography, ethnicity, and profession. And here's the twist, there are 9 political parties in China. Yes, 9. You've probably only heard of the Communist Party. But what about the China Democratic League? The Jiusan Society? The Revolutionary Committee of the Kuomintang?
Why is it that 83% of people in China feel they live in a democracy, with 91% of them saying they think it's important, while only 49% of Americans feel they live in a democracy, with only 76% of them thinking it's important? China is a one-party state, but that doesn't mean they don't have democracy. Multi-party elections that mask, manipulate, divide, and conquer the public, then ignore them after ballots are cast for the next 4 years, as policies they may or may not have even mentioned get rolled out. Because it's not about measuring policy in Western democracy, just winning the show. So politicians can truly say whatever they want when they're campaigning. Yeah, this is not the only way to do democracy, and it's hardly even a good one. China has something the West could learn from. China has meritocracy and participatory democracy at the local grassroots level. In actual policy making, I should add. It focuses more on grassroots participation through local consultation, basically to align policies more with people's needs and consult with experts in relevant fields. Also hold frequent elections at the local level. Climbing the political ladder is not left to the whim of a popularity contest. It's treated as seriously as becoming a doctor or a lawyer. No random reality TV star and comedian can come in and call themselves a politician. They have to prove they can perform governmental work, starting at entry levels and gradually moving their way up as they continuously prove their measurable results again and again. Why wouldn't we learn from that? Is the West the only teacher ever to everybody? Neither American nor European democracy is based on merit or measurability, but money and marketing. This leaves the masses extremely subject to manipulation. Even ancient Greeks understood the flaws with Western democracy. Western democracy got Trump elected, Western democracy got Hitler elected. At the end of the day, Western electoral politics right now is designed to be a form of theater because they need to mask their inferiority and subservience to the true ruling class, which are the capitalists, not states, under capitalism. They are intentionally designed to keep you from knowing the true names of the people who govern over you, the multinationals, the elites, the corporations. Like a court jester distracting you. The Chinese model also focuses on long-term planning rather than short electoral cycles, which is why they are extremely effective at getting shit done. Is it perfect? No, but I don't need to disclaim that every time I make a video talking about other systems that we can learn to emulate. If this is your first time hearing about other kinds of democracy, welcome.
Do you know China has 9 official political parties? One of them is the ruling party, the Communist Party of China, or CPC. The other 8 are called democratic parties. They act as advisors in a system called a multi-party corporation. Let me break down for you all 9, one by one. Communist Party of China, CPC, founded in 1921, leads the government, the military, and all other parties. Its goal is to build socialism with Chinese characteristics, modernize the country, and eventually achieve communism. Revolutionary Committee of Chinese Kuomintang, RCCK, formed by former left-wing Kuomintang members, focus on Taiwan-related affairs, works to promote peaceful reunification across Taiwan Strait. China Democratic League, CDL, made up mostly of teachers, scientists, and cultural workers, provides advice on education, science, and culture, supports national development through knowledge. China National Democratic Construction Association, CNDCA. Members include business people and economists, focus on economic policies and private sector development, help promote modernization and reform. China Association for Promoting Democracy, CAPD, includes professionals in education and publishing, offers suggestions on education and cultural matters, encourages democratic participation in education and society. Chinese Peasants and Workers Democratic Party, CPWDP, made up of doctors, public health experts, and environmentalists, give policies input on healthcare and environmental protection, aim to promote sustainability and public well-being. China Zhigong Party represents overseas Chinese and their families, focus on building relationships with global Chinese communities, supports national unity and international ties. Jiusan Society. Members are scientists, engineers, and teach experts. Advises on science and technology development, works to promote innovation and research. Taiwan Democratic Self-Government League, TDSGL, formed by Taiwanese living on the mainland, represents Taiwan compatriots, support peaceful reunification with Taiwan. All 8 Democratic Party take part in national policy consultant through a system called the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, or CPPCC. They act as advisors in a system known as multi-party corporation under the leadership of CPC. Remember, this is a very brief introduction of the parties in China. And let me know what you think. Leave a comment, please share, and have a nice day.
Here's what Western media won't tell you. China is not a one-party dictatorship in the way we imagine. The Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference brings together representatives from 9 legally recognized political parties, each with a unique role in advising governance. These parties don't oppose the Communist Party in the American sense. They work in cooperation. Think of them more like policy advisors, watchdogs, and technocratic specialists. Their input is essential. It's not partisan warfare. It's coordinated governance. And guess what? In a recent Harvard study, 83% of Chinese citizens believe their country is a democracy. In the US, just 49%.
I just think it's so funny, like, Americans know so much about China, you know? And I always just ask them, like, just travel. Like, leave your state. Like, go somewhere else besides that local bar you always go to. Like, don't do a road trip. Take a plane. Go somewhere you don't speak the language. Go anywhere and learn. Don't be watching your Facebook news or whatever news channel you're watching. Get yourself out there. Learn. Be open-minded. And then make a judgment. Be smart about it. And adjust and listen to what you hear.
America is about to hit stage 5 of democratic collapse, and most democracies never make it back from here. The world thought American democracy was too strong to fall. They said the same about Rome, Weimar Germany, and Venezuela. And here's the 6-stage pattern every democracy faces. First, economic crisis creates a dictatorial opportunity. Secondly, a strongman seizes power legally. Thirdly, institutions get systematically controlled. Fourth, there's a democratic facade, but the outcomes are predetermined. And then, number 5, elites split, there's mass resistance, and the system is vulnerable. And then either, 6, complete collapse or permanent dictatorship. America is oscillating between stages 4 and 5 right now. And here's the historic pattern. Rome had land inequality that led to a strongman exploiting legal loopholes, and the Republic becomes an empire. The Weimar Republic has an economic collapse. Hitler gains power constitutionally. Democracy is destroyed in months. In Hungary, Orbán wins elections legally. The media is controlled, courts are packed, and now they live in competitive authoritarianism. In Venezuela, Chavez, elected democratically, packs the courts, rigs elections, authoritarian government with a democratic facade. United States, 2025, economic inequality, Trump elected twice, Schedule F purging career officials, Supreme Court packed. Will it be democracy or dictatorship? The cultural reality. Americans' high individualism makes collective resistance harder. Americans excel at personal resistance, but struggle to work together. The critical window is now. 5 to 11 million protesters hit the street. In many cities, it hit 3.5% threshold where regimes fall. Republican elites are fracturing, but F is replacing career officials with loyalists, and the Supreme Court is generally loyal to Trump. Expect one of 3 outcomes by 2027. Authoritarian entrenchment, America becomes hungry, democratic restoration, institutions force Trump and the Republican regime out, or total system breakdown where the U.S. reinvents itself as it has done several times. Societies that recognize this pattern and act decisively survive as democracies. Those that assume that it can't happen here discover it already has. America is facing this test now. Will it act in time?
Let's talk hypocrisy. The U.S. has jailed journalists, attacked protesters, and tried to overturn elections, all while calling itself the beacon of freedom. And now, figures like Trump are openly talking about removing rights, banning books, and jailing political enemies. This isn't democracy. It's soft dictatorship, wrapped in red, white, and blue. And while Americans argue over left versus right, China's building roads, hospitals, and infrastructure faster than we can even repair potholes.
China is the #1 economy in the world, and since the 1980s, the Western intelligence departments have tried to claim that it's capitalism, not socialism, that has helped China rise to the top. So I'll take their challenge. If China is capitalist, then let's follow their capitalism to a T. Let's also send 40% of our billionaires to prison. Let's also be endorsed by Fidel Castro. Let's also nationalize 70% of our economy. If China is capitalist, then I guess we also wouldn't mind having Marxist training camps on every college campus in America. Let's also have 70% of our millennials be homeowners. As a 1995 baby, Please. China's capitalist, and I'm sure it wouldn't be hard for us to also have 90% government approval rating. Defund all fossil fuel industries in order to meet our Paris climate agreements 9 years early, expanding Congress to over 3,000 members to represent every county in the United States. 3,000 member of Congress, let's also have 60% of their backgrounds be farming. Also wouldn't mind communists always having 2/3 of control within Congress. I guess we also wouldn't mind having 4 out of the 5 largest banks in our country be state-owned. State-owned meaning controlled by the Communist Party of China, which represents the working class. And cutting down on our military spending to eliminate urban poverty, or making it a law that wages have to rise with inflation every single year. Passing a law that every single business must have a workers' congress, a built-in union. Yes, we also wouldn't mind making it legal to hold your boss hostage if there is a wage dispute. This happens so often in China that police departments have care packages for employees who wish to hold their boss hostage and barricade the building. Let's also have better workplace safety than Australia. Wait, I think we already got that. Let's also be considered one of the fairest trading partners 8 years in a running by the African Union. Let's also create an entire government initiative to free Africa from Western debt. China's capitalist, and I guess we also wouldn't mind loaning Rwanda $6 million, Cameroon $10 million, and Mozambique $36 million, and telling all of them they don't have to pay them back, and then proceeding to give them extra grants. Hell, let's loan Ethiopia the first electric light railway in the entire sub-Saharan African continent. Sounds pretty capitalist. I like that. They also mass arrested every racist actor that was caught on video and apologized specifically to the African Union. Damn good capitalism. And a social credit score system that only applies to business owners. Yeah, if you're a rich guy that doesn't help your community in China, you're on a list. By the way, the United States has more security cameras per capita than China, a nation of 1.2 billion people. If China's capitalist, then I guess we also wouldn't mind making sure capitalists are not part of the government. Capitalists meaning billionaires, bankers, or business owners. If China's capitalist, then I guess we also wouldn't mind twice a year saluting the hammer and sickle. What'd you say? That would be communism.
We are witnessing genocide and ethnic cleansing in the United States right now. Unfortunately, if you don't want to admit it to yourself, or you're just disillusioned and indoctrinated to believe that exterminating immigrants isn't what's happening, then I'm sorry to tell you. Stephen Miller on live television on stage saying he wants America to only be full of 100 million people. That's it. Get rid of the other 230 million. And he wants all of those people to be people who look exactly like him. Straight, white males. Is very, very telling. We are living in a time where Peter Thiel, Curtis Yarvins, literally Stephen Miller, all feel extremely emboldened to showcase their racism on a live stage. And they don't care what the consequences are because they're not receiving any. We are so past gone what normalcy would be, and we are witnessing an ethnic cleansing that 50% of the country is supporting. Whether or not people want to admit it, there is that many people standing 10 toes down supporting this, and that is terrifying.
Let's take stock. China has 9 parties, a grassroots electoral process, high levels of civic trust, and leadership that's largely technocratic, not celebrity-driven. America has billionaires funding chaos, politicians more loyal to donors than voters, and institutions in crisis. Democracy is supposed to mean power to the people. And if you ask me, or the 83% of Chinese citizens who believe they have it, China might be closer to the real meaning than we are. Here's the truth. Democracy isn't about slogans. It's about outcomes. Who eats? Who heals? Who decides? If your democracy leaves you in debt, sick, or voiceless, maybe it's time to ask, is it democracy at all? I'm not saying China's perfect, but I challenge you to look deeper than the propaganda, beyond headlines, beyond fear. Because the truth? It's a lot more complicated and a lot more revealing than they want you to believe. If you made it this far, Maybe you're one of the brave ones willing to ask the uncomfortable questions. And maybe it's time we all started asking them too. Adios.